Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us. My name is Dr. Amit Elazari. I am the CEO and co-founder of Open Policy. You will hear more about us in a second. And I'm here with John. John, tell us your name and title.
All right. I'm John Loucaides, Senior Vice President of Customer Operations at Eclypsium.
Wow. So Eclypsium, new customer of us. We've been partnering for a few months, but also we have shared history
We
at Intel,
do.
at Intel Corporation. Tell us a little bit more about Eclypsium.
Well, Eclypsium is all about looking at the hidden part of the supply chain, all of that stuff that you build on top of that no one really knows about, and right now is a huge topic in all sorts of aspects of policy all around the world. And I think what we are doing that is sort of unique, and this is also where open policy comes into play, is that we're making available a capability that just didn't exist before. And if you want to go and do something like that and change the world, you kind of need to do something that, most people can't do. And, one of the things that open policy lets us do is really play at that higher level than our little startup could ever have hoped to. And I think that's huge. I'm really passionate about trying to make this capability real, and that means policy in some way. And I don't think I could do that without you guys.
Yeah, so it's super exciting to hear this perspective. And so for those of you who don't know Open Policy, we're an AI platform that scales the government affairs and policy expertise and connect policy to revenue and go to market. And part of it is actually being able to look at all the policies, regulations, standards, everything that is coming, and help companies of all sizes, even if they don't have in-house government affairs, or if they have, certain amount of government affairs expertise in-house, but not 100 people, to be in the conversation, understand the policy, and connect it to revenue. And I think what's unique is we're really seeing the leading edge of innovation happening right now in cybersecurity is ahead of the policy. And we need to kind of both monitor the threats, monitor the requirements, being able to kind of connect the dots of the product, the solution, the technology to policy, but also participate in the conversation and shape policy. And so you've been playing with our platform for a few months. And what is most exciting for you?
Well, I have been working in the government space for a while. I started my career working for the US government. I was doing security evaluations. I'm very familiar with lots of requirements. I've written requirements, all of that sort of thing. There are so many. It's so wide and impossible to get your hands around. And we all know this. And there's not really time in the day to go figure out all of these different, not only the requirements themselves, but who's handling them, which agency, which part of the agency. That's something that your platform is specifically targeting. It's something that if I had to do it, and yes, when we started Eclypsium, I was writing the first set of these mappings to the stuff I knew. I can't go know all of it, but the platform can, and that's something that I think changes the ballgame, right? I as a company no longer am relying on me and whatever it is that I happen to know. I am now able to go and make those connections.
So it's shaping the policy and being part of the conversation, which also requires the ecosystem. It's knowledge about the policy, but also the connectivity at scale to your product and understanding the buyer. But it's also just the mere idea of scale, because you are leading on customer operations, customer success, and ultimately for a company to be able to be successful, both in terms of the go-to-market motion, but also serving the customer and understanding the buyer and being ahead, it's also your time. And if we can take that very valuable policy expertise and connect the dots and use AI and use our capabilities to give you back time, but also be very sharp and very on time with your customers, that is a huge value add for us, and we're really appreciative of that. And so Eclypsium, you're really a global leader in what you're doing in supply chain, obviously backed by amazing VCs and, Andreessen Horowitz, Intel Capital, right? Folks can look that up. And you also work with the public sector. So that's another area where we like to say that if you're selling to the private sector, to a CISO, probably 50% of your motion is tied to policy and requirements. If you're selling to the public sector, it's 80 or 90%. Like folks are buying your product because of the attack surface, but they're also buying it because of memos, because of NIST, because of National Defense Authorization Act and budgets, and the conversation really becomes critical, that connectivity to policy. So how do you see that play out in you kind of your own go-to-market, your journey to be obviously the best in the world in this vertical?
Yeah, actually, there's a lot that's there. One of the things that makes a lot of the whole go-to-market easier is having a specific set of requirements that you can fulfill, right? And you know how, and you have done it before, and you have the artifacts, the evidence that will actually do the customer's job. That's what I tend to do in customer operations. But also even before that, when you're talking about marketing and just raising awareness, knowing the language is so important. Yeah. I used to speak 853, right? I know those things, but that's not what my customers actually did. They were dealing with a particular compliance. Yes, it references 853, but if I don't speak...
It's a flavor of it.
It's a flavor of it. If I don't speak their language, they don't know to even care about what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I think this is huge for something like open policy, because you're connecting not just me who wants to change the world in my specific area, but you're letting me do that. You're letting me sort of create a mapping that I would not have been able to do on my own.
Yeah. And I think what's amazing in this space is there used to be this convention or this type of thinking that, you have to have large government affairs, in-house policy experts, lawyers, etc. But because these things are changing all the time, and there is a lot of nuance. But today, actually, with AI, we can really get to that level of expertise and empower a much broader set of players to make sure that they are ultimately connected to their buyers. John, we are kind of we are at the first year with Eclypsium, right? We're in the beginning of our partnership, but it's already been amazing. Very unique company, very unique solution. We are so thankful for the partnership. We just had a day here in DC. How was this for you, spending some time in the White House on the Hill?
This was cool. This was very cool. I think, just looking at even one day, we had a couple days, but even one day worth of all of those meetings would have been incredibly hard to set up. And being able to come prepared, having, done a little bit of homework on what some of these policies are and who does them, I think that lets us do stuff that we really wouldn't be able to do. We were both at Intel for a while. Intel's huge. They've got all the things. That's great. If you're a little startup like we are, this is completely game changing. And I think that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to change the game. That's the whole point.
Yeah, you raise a great point. You go and do a startup and create a cybersecurity company to really change the world. We hear it a lot from our friends, from our ecosystem. No matter what, if it's data, if in AI, if you're passionate about what you're doing, you're seeing an attack vector, you're seeing a risk, you want to solve the problem, but a part of it is actually playing in being at the table and also educating the world and the most influential stakeholders here, the policymakers, the regulators, those who create the TAM. They create the requirements about this vertical that they might be missing. And it's such a unique voice because I don't think policymakers necessarily get to hear that from everyone.
Exactly.
And that has been the most exciting piece of really creating this platform, having an AI platform, but also have this engagement and ecosystem component. John, thank you for the partnership. I am so excited about everything we're going to do with Eclypsium, and thank you for sharing your perspectives.
My pleasure. Thank you very much.